here so I don't get sued.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been a minute.
It has been. Yeah.
Like, is this what I was?
Yeah.
So many eyes.
No, I do like drinking things. Really happy. It's because I have
¿Ustedes viven acá?
Yo vivo en Santa Rosa y
Ajá.
él vive en Cachari,
Ah,
pero yo fui a otra secundaria.
Ok.
Yeah. Pero trabajamos muchos con estudiantes de aquí.
Ah, bien.
So, por eso nos preguntaron. Yeah.
Qué bueno.
¿Y usted?
Yo soy de Ecuador,
Oh, okay. Qué bonito.
pero vivo acá ya un par de años. Mi esposa es de acá.
Oh, okay.
Entonces nos mudamos para acá, de New York, y abrimos el coffee shop
¿Aquí en Petaluma?
en el downtown.
Oh, okay. ¿Cómo se llama?
Mi negocio se llama Grand Central, Petaluma.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you for being here today. Hello, good morning. Bienvenidos.
Como una
Gracias por venir.
conferencia.
Can we quiet down, please? Everyone grab a seat. Thank you. Hello. My name is McCoy Dodsworth. I run the College and Career Center here. Thank you for being here. We know that being bilingual is really good for our brains, right? It helps us, being bilingual helps us hold ambiguity, to know that two things can be true at once, right? I've got my bumblebee shirt on. Bumblebee in English, right? Abeja. You guys go in Spanish. Anyone speak any other languages? How do we say bumblebee in another language? Can we help that? No? Do we have another language for bumblebee? No? Okay. We know that being bilingual is good for our brain. And we're here today to learn about how being bilingual can be good for our careers in the workplace. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over to our two moderators, PHS seniors, Alexa and Teresa. They're both earning the seal of biliteracy. If you want to know more about that, please talk to your Spanish teachers or come talk to me in the College and Career Center.
Hi guys, my name is Teresa, and today we're going to be joined by Marisela, Janet, Magali, and Juan Carlos, and Christian, and they're going to be talking to us a little bit about their experiences being bilingual. Okay, so let's start off with what is your current job and what languages do you speak? Juan Carlos, ¿quieres decir?
Hello. Hola, hola. Buenos días. Yes, my name is Juan Carlos. I speak Spanish and English. My main business is coffee and chocolate. I'm from South America, from Ecuador. And recently I opened a coffee and chocolate shop in town here in Petaluma, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning. My name is Magali Larque. My pronouns are she, her, ella. I'm bilingual in English and Spanish. My mom is also a native French speaker, but I only learned a few words when she was mad at me, so I don't know too much. I'm the director of programs at a local organization in Sonoma County called Latino Service Providers, and I'm also just glad to be here with you all today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christian Gutierrez. My pronouns are he, him, and él. I speak 2 languages. I'm bilingual, Spanish and English, and I actually used to know French a little bit. Don't really know it anymore, but I work alongside Magali at Latino Service Providers as the program manager for our youth internship program that we run. And just excited to talk and answer some questions for you guys today.
Good morning, or actually, morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marisela Ibarra, pronouns she, her, ella, and I am the Senior Credential and Student Services Coordinator for the School of Education at Sonoma State University. I think that's it, right? Oh, yes, I'm bilingual, Spanish and English.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Janet Petrick, and I'm with the U.S. Coast Guard over at Trojan, Petaluma. I am bilingual in Spanish and English, and occasionally some Paw Patrol for my 4-year-old. I'm super excited to be here and see a lot of great faces.
Thank you, guys. Starting off, did you guys have any experiences in high school that supported or influenced your decision on what you guys are doing as a career today?
Well, actually, my influence was back home in Ecuador when I was a teenager. I used to go to the areas where cacao plantations are. So when it was for the summer, I was going there. The smell of cacao was fantastic, and I moved to New York right after. And always, while I was in college, I wanted to do my thesis in cacao and coffee. That's what I did. So that was my inspiration during my childhood, teenager, cacao, coffee, and then I did it. And actually being bilingual helped me a lot because it show all my customers and connections that when you're able to travel to South America, being bilingual, it was much easier to get into the business of coffee and chocolate.
For me, Spanish was my first language at home. So in high school, I took Spanish classes because I thought that would have been an easy A for me. But also learning how to read and write was really helpful. Using the correct accents, the correct vernacular. But I really use Spanish, my bilingualism, for my undergraduate, for my bachelor's degree, and more for my master's degree. I have my master's in public health and behavioral health, and I saw huge gaps for supporting my Latino community in behavioral health. And I figured I would use my bilingualism to support and to communicate with them at a different level that they may not have had before. So I've been using it mostly for graduate school and now for the position that I'm in right now.
Yeah, and for myself, when I use being able to speak both languages, being bilingual, being able to kind of understand 2 different cultures and going to school as a communications major, kind of seeing what the difference is in the way that they communicate from both cultures and how different that might be. So even as my work right now as a program manager and working closely with community and with students, being able to kind of use that and even help them, because I know when I was growing up, I had a hard time understanding some of the differences you might have and the manner that you might speak in English might come off differently in the manner you might want to sound in Spanish. So kind of being conscious on how you're able to get a message to someone.
Well, for me, I have both negative and positive experiences as to what informed my decision to do what I do. I came to the States when I was 12. My parents brought us from Mexico at the very, very young age. So when I came to the States, I didn't know English. So everything just seemed very foreign to me, and I felt like I was in a place that I didn't belong. So I was very determined to learn English, and luckily, I had 3 very good friends who taught me how to speak English, and I just saw the importance of being bilingual, as I grew up. I didn't go to school here. My elementary school was all done in Mexico, so it was very tough. It was very tough. When I was in high school, which, by the way, I graduated from this school, my counselor, when all my friends were looking at applying for universities, I just was one of the ones that never heard about, this is what you need to do. So when I saw my friends completing applications for college, I just said, why am I not being called to do this? My parents always said school is the most important thing you can do. So, make the best out of it. This is an opportunity you have that not a lot of kids have. So when I met with my counselor at the time, I said, this is what everybody's doing, and I haven't heard anything. So her question was, I didn't even know you wanted to go to school after this. So I was like, yes, I do. So I was very, very determined in really learning the steps of how to apply for college, and because I am a first-generation college student, no one in my family knew what to do. So I did a lot of research. I started at the JC because, of course, I missed a lot of the deadlines for college, and I didn't have the right classes to immediately transfer. So I started at the JC, then transferred to Sonoma State. But what I saw the need, just like you said, there are a lot of gaps in seeing, families go or wanting to go to college and not knowing that there are resources out there for them to be able to do it. I worked myself through school. I worked full-time to go to college. So I came out of college with no loans. So that was really great. I graduated from Sonoma State with no loans, and originally I thought I wanted to become a teacher, just because that seemed to be the right fit. But then I got married, and right after I graduated from SSU and decided that I just needed to take a little break. But then the opportunity came to start working at Sonoma State. I received my degree in Chicano Latino Studies, and that's where I learned a lot of things about the lack of resources, again, for our community, our familias, and just needed to see how I could support students as well. So I decided to stay at Sonoma State and eventually get my master's degree in education, because I get to use my skills as a bilingual professional. And I never thought I would, really, where I work, but I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to work with a lot of people who do not know English, and it's been a great experience doing that. So I'm very, very proud to be bilingual and to be where I'm at right now.
And for you, Jeanette, what are some experiences in high school that influenced you?
Oh man, I feel like I'm not going to be popular in this decision. So I actually graduated from Sonoma Valley back in 2004, and I wanted to get the heck away from my small town. And I had wanted to join the Air Force, almost got in, but because of my illegal status, I wasn't able to get in. Honestly, the bilingual part didn't really play into it until I joined the Coast Guard, and I saw the need for it. And through the Coast Guard, I was able to become an interpreter, and then seeing how using Spanish and English when we were out in the water and translating for the fishermen and the bosun mate was so influential. I started to see the need that me speaking two languages was a really beneficial thing. And then also just meeting different other people from different parts of South America, Puerto Rico, and seeing, again, that connects us. So for me, the bilingual piece has been connecting just all different walks of life that I've met through my career.
¿Por qué piensan que ser bilingüe es importante? ¿Cómo les ha ayudado tener su posición que tienen ahora? En español, si quieres.
¿En español? A ver, tenemos que entender que el continente americano es muy grande, ¿no? Y solamente en Norteamérica, que está Canadá, Estados Unidos y México. No solamente en México y en Estados Unidos se habla español. Tenemos todo Centroamérica, Sudamérica, que es inmenso, inmenso. Entonces, las oportunidades que ustedes pueden obtener al hablar español en Sudamérica son inmensas. Se van a Europa, en España, en Portugal se hablan español, pueden un poco entender el portugués. Entonces, no nos cerremos a solo hablar inglés. A mí personalmente me ha abierto muchas oportunidades del ser bilingüe. Yo he tenido cuentas de trabajo que prefieren comprarme el cacao a mí porque yo hablo español e inglés. Entonces yo puedo negociar los precios con las gentes de los farmers, la gente que produce el cacao, y puedo negociar los precios acá en Estados Unidos con los empresarios que compran cacao en volúmenes altos. De esa manera yo puedo pagar un precio justo, fair trade, por lo que yo hago a la gente que produce el cacao y el café en Ecuador y representarlos, ¿verdad? Pero si yo no hablara español o inglés, ambos, no pudiese hacer eso. O sea, es un match que yo tengo en mi negocio. Y me representa mucho porque el cacao y el café se producen en Sudamérica, en Centroamérica. Entonces, a mí me representa mucho el poder hablar bien los dos idiomas, ¿verdad? Sí es cierto, en inglés yo tengo un acento fuerte, pero yo mantengo una conversación de política, de economía, de filosofía sin ningún problema. Entonces, incluso es appealing el acento cuando uno está en el negocio como el que estoy yo, ¿verdad? Entonces, de esa manera, espero que si no entendieron algo, me preguntan con respecto a lo que dije en español, ¿ok?
Para mí, nuestro programa todo es en inglés y español. Todos nuestros estudiantes hablan dos idiomas, pero con eso muchos de sus padres nomás hablan español. Para tener ese trust con ellos, hablo español con ellos, hablo del programa que nosotros hacemos porque muchas veces es la primera vez que han oído sobre las cosas de la salud mental, porque vamos a tener sus hijos unos 3 días en campamento para entrenarlos en diferentes cosas. Para mí eso es muy importante para hablar dos idiomas en mi trabajo. También me gusta viajar, me gusta ir a todo México. Hace unos 5 meses nosotros dos fuimos a España y es verdad, puedes ir a muchos diferentes lugares. Si hablas el idioma, puedes leer, puedes estar solito, solita, y puedes hacer muchas cosas con diferentes idiomas que estudies y te da una perception de independencia, y a mí eso me gustó mucho. Lo uso mucho en mi trabajo y yo creo que eso es muy importante, y también lo uso mucho en mi vida nomás de Magali porque me gusta viajar, me gusta ser solita, me gusta ser independiente de mi familia, y ser bilingüe ha sido todo eso posible. Y same things, if you guys want me to repeat myself in English, I'd be more than happy to.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I'll pass it back to you after. What I said was a lot in my work. All of our students, all of our interns are bilingual, bicultural. But a lot of their family members, their parents are just monolingual Spanish speakers. So for me, trust is really important. So being able to speak their language, have these conversations with them. A lot of that, what we focus is on mental health, and that might be like the first time they're hearing about this information and actually applying it to their lives. So for me, to be able to communicate with them is really important. And then on like a personal level too, because of my bilingualism and because I keep up with it so often, I've been able to travel the world, and it's been amazing to be able to do that independently and have the autonomy and the confidence to be able to do that. I've been able to go all around Mexico. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Colombia. We were just in Spain a couple months ago. So to be able to do that was really great for me too.
Basically, what I said is that the the Spanish you can use in the United States, in Mexico, and Canada, but you have to see more than that. You have to see all the way southern, Central America, South America, Argentina, Chile, Peru. So many places, so many doors that you can open with that, with being bilingual down there. As well in Europe, Spain, in business helped me a lot to negotiate with the farmers in South America, name it, coffee farmers, cacao farmers, getting their trust and be able to come back to the United States and Canada and negotiate with bigger companies, in order to make a good deal and make everyone happy. Okay.
Y para mí, cuando lo que yo he usado mi bilingüe es, pues en el trabajo, estando con los jóvenes, puedo comunicarme con ellos en los temas que los estamos enseñando, pero también en nuestra organización, también todos los recursos que a lo mejor sus papás o otras personas en la comunidad que ocupan ayuda, puedo ayudarles y ser un guía para ellos, para decirles a dónde ir, y también ganando esa información y pasarlos a los demás, a mis familiares, a vecinos, a los que los ocupan en información, porque tenemos bastantes recursos, pero muchas de las personas no saben dónde están o cómo es el acceso. Y también ahorita estoy en la escuela también sacando la maestría. Tuve la oportunidad, pocos meses, como mencionó Magali, fuimos a Barcelona. Tuve una semana que tomé una clase allá y pude conectar con muchos profesionales allá en Barcelona, con uno que se enfoca mucho en los negocios deportivos, y él es de Inglaterra. Muchos estudiantes que vinieron de Colombia, Perú, Sudamérica, y conexiones que nunca hubiera podido tener si nunca hubiera sabido cómo hablar español y ido a la programa. Y si no hubiera hablado español así bien como lo hablo, ellos no me hubieran tenido la confianza de tener esas conexiones. Y cuando ustedes van creciendo, van a aprender que las conexiones que pueden hacer mientras que crecen van a ser bien importantes, porque a veces nunca saben cuándo van a ocupar algo, y a lo mejor conocen algunas gentes en esas posiciones en el futuro. And I pretty much just mentioned that knowing two languages, being bilingual, has allowed me the opportunity of being able to communicate with my students in both English and Spanish, but also with their parents, kind of how Magali mentioned. But within our organization, besides running an internship program, it's also being able to connect community members to some of the resources that are out here. So even me kind of learning that, being able to distribute that information to them or other people that may come into our organization is very crucial, because I can even get that information provided to my family members who may be here in the area that I may not have known otherwise. So that's like really key. And I also kind of mentioned how Magali told you guys about us going to Barcelona a couple months ago. That was for my master's program that I'm still going. I'm still going through, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. But I had the opportunity to study in Barcelona for a week, and within that, I was able to make connections with some of the students out there, made connections with the dean, who he's a sports business management focus, and that's kind of the area that really interests me, and I was able to make that connection.
Thank you for sharing, Kristen. Can we hear a little more from Marisela?
¿Español? Okay. Pues, ¿qué les puedo decir? Es muy importante para todos ustedes que están aprendiendo el español. Los felicito porque quizá piensen que nunca van a necesitar usar el idioma, los idiomas que saben, ¿no? Pero se van a sorprender que en sus vidas van a encontrarse con personas que necesitan de su ayuda, que necesitan que les ayuden a traducir, porque me ha pasado a mí en todo lugares que en el lugar que menos te puedes imaginar. Es muy, para mí me llena de mucha emoción y orgullo el poder estar enfrente de una persona que veo que está batallando al comunicarse con alguien que no sabe español y ellos no saben inglés, y el poder decir, gustas que te ayude, porque pueden comunicarse y ya se sienten ellos con más confianza, y es importante el poderles ayudar porque pues son cosas que necesitan saber, ¿no? Para los que ya saben español e inglés, sigan adelante, no les dé pena, al hablar español, porque veo que a muchos jóvenes como que les da vergüenza, incluso sus nombres no los pronuncian bien. Para mí es un honor decir que me llamo Marisela. El que no lo pueda pronunciar, pues le ayudo para que sepan que ese es mi nombre, y es importante porque es algo que me representa. Entonces, para ustedes, el ser bilingüe es algo que no muchos pueden hacerlo. No solo les va a ayudar en sus vidas, en lo personal, en lo profesional, pero para muchos de ustedes, ya que estén en sus trabajos profesionales, les va a ayudar a que ganen más dinero, porque hay en sus salarios, si el ser bilingüe, les pueden dar un bono por ser bilingüe. Así es que, for those of you guys who are learning Spanish, please continue to do it. Don't be afraid. You are going to see that anywhere, really, you are going to be able to utilize your two languages to be able to help someone who is maybe at the register, at a supermarket, who cannot, if they don't know English, it's really difficult for them to translate. So to be able to say, les puedo ayudar, and be able to communicate, for them, it's just very rewarding. So please keep it up. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed, because this will help you in your professional lives and personal lives.
What about you, Jeanette?
Bueno, a mí me ayuda a ser bilingüe porque puedo escuchar la música que mi hijo escucha Bad Bunny y entender lo que está diciendo. Pero en realidad creo que aquí los cuatro están diciendo lo que yo pienso igual. Conexiones, confianza, poder ayudar a tu trabajo profesionalmente, y también para mí lo más importante, y Maricela lo acaba de decir, es el orgullo de poder decir soy bilingüe, te puedo ayudar, y las conexiones. So my translation is being able to understand I also have a senior in high school, the lyrics, and I'm like, I know what he's saying. But I think the panelists just hit it, the nail on the head, is just that connection, the trust, how it's going to help you professionally and personal life. You might fall in love with someone from South America. Who knows? But I think they all said it pretty well.
What is it like working in your field, and what are some difficulties that you guys face being in your career? Because you guys are all so different. In short, you guys don't have to translate.
Well, one of the difficulties actually right now at my shop is that I would prefer to hire a bilingual barista or bilingual customer service person. I haven't found the right person yet. So whoever wants to apply, please come by, drop a resume. I'm more than welcome. What we are doing at my shop, we are giving an experience to Petaluma with our coffee, chocolates, and empanadas. And that will be kind of the challenges that I've been having right now in town. So, yeah. So, guys, be proud. You guys are bilingual, so continue.
What was the question again?
What is it like working in your field, and what are some difficulties that you have faced?
I love the work that I do. I've been there in my organization. Next month it'll be 4 years. I love the nonprofit world, the internal values and the internal applause that you have is so important, and I love working with young people. I love working with students who come from my same community, who come from my same culture, who get my jokes, who think I'm funny, so it's a little bit of an ego boost too. Every day is really different for us, which is really fun for me, because I like to do different things every single day. I like to put 100% of me into the work that I do. I don't take myself too seriously, but I take the work that I do really seriously. Some of the challenges are, and this might be for people who are also bicultural too, is being born here and having my mom emigrate from Mexico is sometimes I'm not taken too seriously by my Latino community. Sometimes I'm not taken too seriously by multi-generational Americans here. And I try to navigate in between different spaces, and that can be really difficult and a little bit disheartening. And sometimes I have some imposter syndrome, and I think our students have really shared that as well. So just having the confidence, and then people also like on your side supporting you who are also navigating new spaces is really important. But I think what you said was perfect. Like, be proud of your bilingualism, keep it up, because I see so many multi-generational Americans really trying to learn Spanish to be able to support the community that I come from and to be involved in it. And I just applaud that, because you could be doing anything else, but you're choosing to do that. And I think that that speaks volumes on the work and how progressive and how much we're moving forward.
Yeah, similarly to Magali, I mean, I work with students, so a lot of the times it's changing from time to time. I sometimes be working on projects, sometimes be like working closely with them and seeing how they're doing and checking in. I think one of the bigger challenges I have is more so being in the field of mental health, which is still evolving, especially bilingually. Like, a lot of information's in English, so as more information's coming out in Spanish and all these translations are coming out, is also understanding them and knowing what those translations are and knowing how to kind of communicate that information to the rest of like the community in a way where they can kind of understand it, because it's still kind of an uphill battle of these ideals that they're not used to when they grew up, and we're trying to kind of bring in new science. So that's kind of some of the challenges I have.
And for me, I love doing what I do, working with new college graduates who want to become teachers and people who want to get their graduate degree. So I work, every day is just different. I learn new things every day, and like you said, it is very rewarding because it's like a new challenge. So when you see new things coming your way, it's challenging, but it also refuels it personally. It refuels the work that I do and reinforms the importance of the work that I do. Some of the things that I see, because I get to work with students who want to become teachers, are the inequities across the school systems, for just across the board. So being able to talk to students, professionals, who want to become teachers and really want to make a difference, it's really great. It's also very, very rewarding personally, having people come my way and say, you are a role model, and I am who I am because I saw who you were from the moment you came to do a presentation to my class. So that really refuels my work every day and my desire to keep doing what I do.
That's nice. Could you repeat the question again?
What is it like working in your field? What are some difficulties that you face?
So being in the military, I mean, it's always evolving, right? Different missions, I've traveled all over the country, so it really just depends on the job per se. It's rewarding because, again, I get to meet so many different people from all parts of the world. Difficulties, I feel, as a Mexicana, have been educating some of my shipmates on the immigration process. Sometimes it's skewed one way, and letting them know, like, it's not just what you see on the media. This is my story. Once I share my story, it's interesting to see how they shift and how they perceive me a different way. And sometimes, although we might not agree politically, we can find common ground as military members to complete whatever mission we have at hand. So that is sometimes how we navigate through those difficulties.
In short, what's one memory that has stayed with you because you're bilingual? Like one experience, I would say, core memory that you have that you were able to have because of that.
You want to start? start from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, a core memory, like inside out, right?
Yeah.
I think it was for me, but in bilingual, it was, I grew up here in Sonoma again, and I didn't find out I was illegal until I was 15 and a half. And I think it was going up to my dad and asking him for my social for driver's ed. And he was like, oh, about that. I'm like, what do you mean about that? So that kind of, I think, shaped me and definitely made me want to strive to, as corny as it sounds, like the si se puede, like one way or another, I'm going to figure it out and get through this and make my parents proud, you know, even though there were literally roadblocks ahead of me.
Thank you. And for me, as corny as it may sound, the best memory I have of being bilingual is being able to translate for my parents. And I'm sorry, this is really hard. My dad passed away some years ago, but I would go with him to auto parts and translate for him. So that was, at the time, of course, I hated it because I would have to stop doing something so that I could go with him to translate. But now that I think about it, I think being bilingual and having had the opportunity to do that with my dad, just, it's a really great memory for me.
Yeah, and I think all of our Latinos out there can relate, like being 5 years old and like, what does this mean on this statement? You're like, I don't really know, I'm 5. And for you, Christian?
Yeah, as for me, so I feel like the memory that comes into my head was like a few years back, right when the pandemic was happening. I was working at Costco at the time, and I remember seeing a lot of people in panic and kind of trying to figure out, like, you know, grabbing a Lysol, grabbing all the wipes, just total chaos, and seeing like a lot of Latinos kind of like just kind of lost and confused, and not even really knowing like where things are at, and me just kind of being able to just help them and kind of guide them of like, you know, these are, you know, we have things here, as simple as just me helping them, like just the direction of where items were, and even at times like being friendly enough with them where I would be able to go to the back and, you know, grab something where we're technically not supposed to, but it's like, you know, I see people in need and they're just as confused as everyone else, if not probably even more. So that's like one thing that made me feel a lot better, because even though it's something that maybe wasn't major in some people's eyes, like I was able to make a difference in maybe a couple of people, and that's worth a lot.
Thank you.
For me, when the fires of 2017 happened, my tío and my tía lost their home, and they're monolingual Spanish speakers. So when they got a nixle saying what was going on, they couldn't read it. And they were really confused, and they literally ran out of their house with nothing, none of our possessions, nothing. And then with the fires that have continued, a lot of the work that I do personally at my job and a lot of the work that our interns support us in is creating bilingual, bicultural, sensitive, Sonoma County specific materials to our monolingual Spanish community and also our indigenous communities too, because I think it's also important to realize that although so many bilingual people come from our southern countries, they don't only just speak Spanish. There's a lot of indigenous languages that I feel we also need to represent. So when we have students who speak indigenous languages, I'm like, how can I support you in this goal that we have together to create material that other people will understand that will literally save their lives? So one of the moments I was most proud of with some of my students was them creating a video on how to pack a to-go bag in Spanish and creating a brochure that you can write in with your family to have on your fridge that's all in Spanish and all in indigenous languages, so that if an emergency does happen, you are more prepared and thus more resilient, and the healing process is a lot faster. So being able to see that come into fruition and see that happen in real life because my students are bilingual and because they saw that as a gap and what was needed was just the most amazing feeling. And we've had families say to us, you know, I had to evacuate my house, but I watched your video on YouTube, or I have your brochure on my fridge, and we knew exactly what to do because we as a family talked about it. And now we're confident that if something happens, you know, living in Sonoma County, we have earthquakes, fires, floods, zombies, like all these different things that, you know, our families are prepared. And for me, that's a really great feeling to have.
For me, you guys are familiar with these two words, fair trade. So being able to work in a fair trade business, it's extremely important. Going back to South America and being received by the farmers with appreciation and love, because I'm fighting for their rights, for the right price for them, is extraordinary. I suggest you guys to watch a documentary. It's called The Dark Side of Chocolate. That is on YouTube. It's free. It shows you the exploitation that kids suffer in Africa for working in farms. Ages 5, 10 years old kids working there, and not being in a fair trade environment. It's hard to see that. So yeah, that's my core, that's my mission here, to represent fair trade businesses through my coffee shop. People will say, oh, I'm just going to the coffee shop to drink a cup of coffee. No, it's more than that. So, it's a lot behind that. The mission is to pay them well for what they do. You know, they work in a very hard environment, very high temperatures. It's not easy, you know, it's hard labor. So pay them well for what they do. Keep the quality of coffee and chocolate, and put this in your palates, guys. So you need to appreciate those kind of businesses, fair trade business. Okay.
And before we move on to our students today, is there any advice for you guys for people that are taking another language or pursuing being a bilingual student?
I would say just keep practicing. There was a point in my life where I wasn't practicing my Spanish, and it was mostly in high school. I felt like sometimes really ashamed to practice my Spanish because I was trying to assimilate and trying to fit in. So that was really difficult for me. But then now in the work that I do, I'm like, oh, I love speaking Spanish. Like, I love my language. It's so beautiful. There's so many words to describe, like, the way that I'm feeling that I might not be able to describe in English. The music is, like, a key point. Like, once you open up, like, your music to and movies to different languages, you get, like, a lot of rewards from it. It's so amazing. So I would say just definitely keep practicing. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Like, and if you need support, you know, look for additional resources too.
For me, it'd be, regardless if, you know, you're Latino or you're from here, remember your roots, honor your past, and find a way to move forward, right? Even if there's a roadblock, find a way around it. Like she was saying, find a resource, ask a friend, ask a parent, ask an aunt, ask a trusted teacher. It'd be, especially for your guys' young age group and everything you all have been through as well.
I would say the same thing. Really be proud of who you are. Always remember your roots, regardless of where you come from. Just know your family members, you know, may have come from other countries. So always be proud of who you are. Don't be ashamed of speaking another language. Practice makes perfect. So just keep doing it, and don't be afraid, don't be ashamed, because you will see. In 10 years from now, you'll see what we mean by this.
Well, I like to say that I see a lot of you are have Latino background, but a lot of you not. So I also want to say thank you for the ones that are not Latino background, that you guys are showing interest in Spanish, and that means you also are open to embrace a different culture. So that's something that you guys have to be proud of and continue doing it.
Christian, would you like to say anything before we move on?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the numbers, if you're looking at the U.S., are slowly like becoming more like, you know, more Spanish speakers. It's going to be like more and more important, like in the future, to, you know, to learn the language. Even like globally, it's one of like the biggest languages like out there. Like we mentioned earlier, South America, Central America, some in Europe. So it's one of the hugest things that you can really have, and it's an awesome language, and the music, yeah, I can't emphasize, like, the music is just awesome, and like once you kind of like have that feeling, and for those that, you know, come from like Spanish background, like, or not Spanish, but Latinx background, or just Spanish speaking background, like, yeah, that pride that just kind of comes with it, like, you know, it's just, I don't know, I always find it awesome.
Okay, now it's time to shift our gear to our Q&A. Do any of you guys have any questions?
Sé que cuando estás hablando español, típicamente tienes como a veces como familia en México o algunos países en México, o perdón, no México, la resto de Latinoamérica. Y pues a veces cuando hablas español, y pues vas en un como intercambio. Hay como unos ejemplos de conexiones que te conoces cuando estás en como un intercambio. Algo como así. Unos ejemplos.
Yo conocí a mi esposo es americano y la conexión que yo hice con él es comida. Comida, le cociné comida mexicana y así hice que su familia me quería a mí porque yo podía cocinar lo que sea y así empezamos blending of the two cultures.
My mom is from Mexico City. And those who have family from Mexico City, you know that they speak their slang. We call it like chilango, chilanga. So for me, just being around like all my aunts and uncles, like, and just watching them vibe is so different and so heartwarming. Our love language is also food. So being able to like communicate on like which foods I'm interested in eating and what I like is really important to me. And if you guys ever have a chance to go to Mexico City, like the museums, the pyramids, like everything is just so amazing. And to be able to see like, okay, this is where, you know, this culture stemmed from. This is where my roots are from. Like, this is where, you know, like a society has lived and thrived and prospered despite colonialism has just been like really amazing for me. So going to different places, especially where my family has been so amazing and important for me.
We have an amazing student here. They'd like to share their story.
Bueno, antes yo estaba en la mañana, yo expliqué mi historia y ahora quiero compartirlo con ustedes como una persona que habla más de 2 idiomas, porque yo hablo el francés y el inglés, creol, y está aprendiendo inglés. Es que ser más de bilingüe es una ventaja más para una persona, porque eso te puede ayudar con los demás, y hay personas que es nueva en un lugar, que necesita una dirección. Si es usted que es su salvador, eso sí es una ventaja para ustedes. Y quiero decir, como tu idioma natal, es como antes una señora dice, es un puente, es tu idioma, no debe olvidarlo, pase lo que pase. Porque yo dejo mi país a los 9 años, y pues yo dejo mi país, yo no dejo mi idioma atrás. Donde yo voy con mi idioma. Es que en mi casa me obligaron, como en mi casa hablo mi idioma natal, y en la escuela yo hablo el inglés y el español. En mi casa me obligaron a ver películas en francés para que no olvide los idiomas. Entonces, la ventaja es tu idioma es tu valor más precioso que puede tener.
Any other questions?
Es que quiero preguntar a ustedes, el español y el inglés, ¿cuál ustedes preferían o cuál es más fácil para ustedes?
Para mí, obviamente, el español. Spanish is my main, you know, I was born speaking Spanish. Most of my negotiations are in Spanish. But something that's very important you guys must know is it's called valor agregado. It's the added value. So you guys being bilingual is your added value even for your career. When you have 2 people with the same skills, and if someone is bilingual, as as a businessman, I would choose the person with the bilingual background. So the added value is key.
Anyone else want to answer the question?
Sure. Para mí, todo depende en la situación. Me siento mucho mejor hablando español cuando estoy en la casa y todo depende del lugar en el que estoy. Pero sí te voy a ser bien honesta que a veces me pasa que estoy tratando de decir algo en inglés y tengo la palabra en español y no se me viene al inglés. Y me pasa lo mismo cuando estoy hablando español y quiero decir una palabra pero la tengo en inglés y no la puedo decir. Entonces ahí es donde sale el Spanglish. Entonces cuando estás hablando con una persona que es bilingüe es maravilloso y el poder hablar Spanglish.
Any other students have any questions to ask?
Aprovechen de la oportunidad, ellos han tomado están aquí donando su tiempo para inspirarles a ustedes en inglés, en español, como sea.
Es para cuando hablando inglés o español, pero hay muchos tiempos cuando están hablando con alguien y no entiendes qué dicen.
Para mí a veces sí hay, a veces cuando ando hablando con gente y no los entiendo completamente lo que andan diciendo. Me ha pasado más cuando fui a España, porque es un dialecto poco diferente que lo hablamos nosotros. Pero también reconozco, cuando he hablado con mi abuelito, a veces no lo entiendo todo completo, pero lo que yo me trato es de fijarme en algunas de las palabras que dicen para figurar qué es lo que están diciendo. Y a veces me ayuda mucho haciendo eso, pero también a veces sí se me pasa cuando se me olvida algo y luego nomás ando, y luego nomás se me quedan viendo, me pongo a pensar, pues ¿qué dije? Sí. So, yeah.
Eso pasa.
It was really cute to see my dad and my boyfriend, husband now at the time, try to communicate. They legit found a way. They point to things and then they'd be like, beer, cerveza, sure, yeah, so they found common ground.
And it's also important for you not to feel embarrassed to ask. Can you repeat the question or can you repeat what you said? Because sometimes what I hear from people who don't speak Spanish and I start speaking Spanish, they're like, whoa, you're going too fast. And I think it happens with any other language that you're learning, but just don't be afraid to ask, to repeat, and just tell them, especially if you're trying to speak with someone who speaks Spanish and you're speaking Spanish, you did great, by the way. Just tell them, estoy aprendiendo, puedes repetir. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, when I was in Spain, I was watching a girl order an iced coffee, but the way that she said it, she said, quiero un café con helado. But she meant to say ice, so they brought her a coffee and an ice cream. And she was just like, what? And I was like, you ordered a coffee and an ice cream, this is how you say, can I have an iced coffee? So she was like, okay, and I could just tell that she had this huge wave of relief, oh man, someone sees me and validates my struggle right now and is trying to help me. And I was like, but I'm charging you for that ice cream, girl, hand it over. But it just kind of helps to, if you see someone trying to figure it out, lend that arm of support. Or if you're trying to figure it out and you see someone is willing to help you, or ask for the support, because sometimes I mess up too, and I'm a native Spanish speaker and English speaker, but there's times we're human, so you can make mistakes.
Any other questions?
Lucas better not. Lucas better. You better not.
Okay, bien. Pues yo sé como tengo mucha familia en México y mi abue y yo tenemos el piel blanco y todo, pero hablamos español, ¿no? Y pues todas las veces que vamos allí y hablo con mis primos, la primero idioma que ellos hablan es inglés, porque creen que yo no puedo hablar español. Y eso pasa como cada vez, como cada conversión, yo hablo mucho español, como sí, estoy hablando español aquí, pues hablan inglés allí y tienen como unos ejemplos en el pasado que he pasado para vosotros?
A mí me pasa bastante cuando voy al supermercado, que estoy ya en línea para pagar y el cajero inmediatamente me empieza a hablar español porque piensan que no hablo inglés. Entonces, pues cuando veo que lo están haciendo no por querer quedar bien o que lo están haciendo nada más porque automáticamente asumen que no hablo inglés, yo les hablo inglés y les empiezo a hablar para que vean que no nada más porque me ven de piel café, de piel oscura, y especialmente cuando estoy afuera de horas de trabajo que estoy en mis sweats, ¿no? Que no piensen automáticamente que no puedes hablar el idioma. Y suele suceder, pero tuve una experiencia con mi cuñada que es americana y está aprendiendo español. Fue a México y me preguntaron a mí algo para que le preguntara a ella y ella les dijo, no, háblame, yo estoy aprendiendo español, por favor háblame en español. Entonces, it's very unique.
I have a 4-year-old boy. He's bilingual and also he speaks, besides Spanish and English, he speaks a little bit of French. So my wife she's 4 years old. She's from here actually. She came to this high school. So she speaks to him in English, I speak to him in Spanish, but it's a constant word for me. Spanish, everything I switch. And my son, he looks more white than Latino. So wherever we go, you notice people just talking to him in English, right? And sometimes even Spanish speakers talk to him in English because they don't think he speaks Spanish. And then my son goes, no, I speak Spanish, so he's very proud of it. So it's quite nice to see him, saying I speak Spanish as well.
We had another question.
Preguntas para Carlos. ¿Cómo empezó en los negocios y fue difícil para usted?
It's been very difficult. A lot of people think it's been easier for me, but it's been very hard. I moved to New York when I was 17 by myself, without any English. Back then, it was because of financial situations. I had to move to New York. Back home, I never worked, I never did anything, but being a teenager, so I had to man up, and I went to college, and I was working in the restaurant industry for a long time. And again, when I did my thesis in college I did in cacao, in fair trade business. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey that discipline, motivation, but more discipline than motivation, and a mission. The mission I have, as I said before, is being able to help, to promote jobs. That's what motivates me every morning. What I suggest you guys is think well what you're gonna do in your future years. Don't just choose a career without thinking, because that's gonna represent your life in the future and what you do and how you feel. It's not the same to wake up and do a job that you don't like just for money or for an income. Then you wake up motivated, say, okay, today I'm gonna do this. You wake up and happy. I work 14, 15 hours a day. I work 6 days, 7 days a week. But my engine, it's my being able to help my community in Ecuador and also to represent the South American and the Latin American culture here in the United States. And I feel that Petaluma is such an amazing place, guys. Quickly, I moved to Petaluma temporarily. I was planning to stay 6 months or 1 year during the pandemic, and I decided to stay because it's such a wonderful place with a wonderful community. So be happy to be here, and again, choose well your career and continue your Spanish.
Thank you. We have time for another question if anyone wants to ask one. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for coming in to the PHS and donating your time.
thank you for all the teachers that came to put this together, and thank you for the students who came and listened to your unique stories and experiences. I don't think it goes unnoticed, so let's thank you.
I have a little chocolate bars for you guys in the back. Follow me on Instagram. Okay?
Nobody cares about shit.
In my, for my shop.
Well, I have $1 for I want one too.
Yeah, I can share quickly about it.
Thank you.
So basically, that's the chocolate we make. We have at my shop. So it's a dark organic chocolate, 60% cacao. To give you an idea, Hershey's has 1%. This one has 60%. So it's very good for you. It's healthy, and enjoy it, guys.
Very authentic.
Thank you.
Thank you. What? Yeah. Thank you. It was nice.